Hello there, World of Tankers. Welcome back to another one of my videos. I am Blitz, and today I'm going to be talking about the Fury. Now, this tank has come into the Blitz Fair auction at just a ridiculous price tag. It started off at 30,000 gold. It has dropped quite a bit, actually. Now it's at 21,500, but in my opinion, it's still not even going to be worth it when it's at the final price. Now, if you are a tank collector, I'm still just going to be reviewing the tank because I feel it's kind of unfair if I don't talk about the tank, judging that it's so much money. I feel like you guys, if any of you did pick it up, as you are tank collectors and you don't know exactly how to run it, I think it would still be nice to make a video just to talk about the vehicle. Now, when you compare the Fury to the EZ8 on Blitz Stars, what's quite odd is that the Fury has just better stats in general. It has more damage per minute, and it has a better aiming time than the EZ8. So we're going to be pretty much just flat out made the Fury better, and their balancing factor is that the Fury just has a slower power to weight ratio. It is 16 over the 19 that the EZ8 has, so it's just going to accelerate a little bit slower, but their top speeds are exactly the same, and their engine power is exactly the same. So to be honest, yeah, it's just a worse tank in my opinion, the EZ8 over the Fury. But enough about comparing the two vehicles. I'm just going to start talking about really my overall impression on this tank and how I did do in it. Now, the games I actually played in the Fury were pretty much just one of the best games I've ever played in a tier 6 tank, and that's because, as I said, it has an excellent damage per minute of 2,150, and that is when you run gun rammer. I actually would not suggest to run calibrated just because, as I said, your standard penetration is so crap, and the HE on this tank, you're not going to be penning much with 20 mil of HE pen. So you might as well just run gun rammer, get that extra boosted damage per minute out, but it really is going to help you out because the gun is actually really nice on this tank. As I said, it's better than the EZ8, so it's got a 1.9 second aiming time. With that 2,150 damage per minute added in, you can actually start to take out opposing tier 6 medium tanks in less than 30 seconds, where it might take them 40 seconds sometimes to take you out if they were the non-stop shoot. So this tank just has a really good damage per minute. But as you saw, I was aiming at that T150, and man, this gun just has the worst penetration. And as well, this tank does not have the best armor. You can see as soon as I stopped using my gun depression, which it does have 12 degrees of, but even when you do use the 12 degrees, I'm not used to having an American tank that just sucks all over with armor. The tank is huge, every shell that hits it pretty much pens, even through the gun mantlet, which was surprising to me because, as I said, most American tanks have good gun mantlets, and I was using the 12 degrees of gun depression, which this tank has, which is excellent, but when you use it, you still have to remember that people are easily going to be able to tap through your tank's turret. So it took me a couple games to get used to it, but once I did, you're going to see this game and the one I pulled out right after this are just truly really good games. This first one, I've already done 2,800 damage, and it doesn't seem like you rack up that much damage in this tank until you really notice that, wow, I've penned 5, 6, 7 shells in a row. It's every 4.5 seconds. That is just a ridiculous rate of fire. And you have to remember, this is only a tier 6 tank. A tank like the E25 is a 3.3 second reload, and that's a tier higher. And that is a tank destroyer as well. This is a medium tank with good mobility, good gun depression. There's nothing I can really complain about on this tank. And as you can see in the post-game results, I earned 73,000 credits, and I did fire quite a bit of premium ammo to penetrate some of those harder targets, so you can see it earns a nice amount of credits. Overall, I really am enjoying this tank. And this game here on Dynasty was one of the rarest games I think I could have ever pulled out, especially in a tank like this. I hate to admit it, but as I said, I'm enjoying it, and I don't want to be enjoying it because it costs so much gold, and I wanted to just give this big rant about this tank being such a ridiculous price tag and blah blah blah, but it's still not worth it. Don't get sold on this tank review. It completely, by no means, is worth 20, 30,000 gold or anything even close to that. At best, I think it should be sold for 8,000 at the most expensive. It's a tier 6 tank we're talking about. You can literally buy an Object 252, or at least could have bought the Object 252 for 10,000 gold. You can buy the AMX-30B at cheapest for 17,800 gold. Why would you spend money on a tier 6 premium vehicle when you can buy a tier 10 premium vehicle, which is going to bring you more enjoyment? You're probably going to think that at least you spent your money on something worthwhile. This tank, even though it is really fun, unless you are a tank collector, as I said, it's really not going to be worth it. But back into this game, you can see that I flanked all the way around and unfortunately didn't find any medium tanks, which means now I'm going to be on flat terrain. And as I said, the armor profile on this tank sucks, and because it's such a big and tall target, it's very easy to get spotted in it. The camouflage rating, to be honest, is absolutely atrocious, and that is one thing you need to keep in mind if you do run a tank like this, is that you're probably going to be outspotted by every other medium tank you do push on. Thankfully, the heavy tanks are the ones in the back here, and because my damage per minute is actually more than that IS, I noticed that, well, the KV2's dead, there's nobody really else near him, so I'm just going to push on him and really tear him apart. And you're just going to see how quick this reload really is once I put on my fast reload ability as well. You can see just shell after shell tapping into him. I pretty much have the same reload as that FV4201, so this gun is just completely insane in the damage per minute. It's just that that penetration really is a big letdown. I wish it had something more like 150 millimeters of penetration, but to be honest, that would make the tank completely overpowered. So I give Wargaming credit for not making it an overpowered tank. It is completely balanced in my opinion. I just don't like that the EZ8 is worse than it. But in this game, you can see we've already picked up 1,000 damage. And I'm trying to be really careful because I know I can't fight a tank like the Black Prince. Not only does it have a quicker reload than me, it's got a lot more armor and I can barely penetrate it. And that is one of the issues with this penetration, is even though 177 mil is enough to get through probably any tier 6 tanks you're going to have struggles with, a tier 7 tank like that Black Prince is very, very tough. And if a skilled player is running a tank like that, the issue is that they can pretty much just angle it up, and I'm not going to be able to penetrate whatsoever. However, there is one nice thing about the Black Prince, is that it only deals 160 damage. And because of that, let's say I was playing up against an IS. If I bounce 2 of my shells on that IS because of my bad pad, the IS is going to tap me back for 400. And that's going to hurt a lot harder than just messing up once with this Black Prince, because he deals the same average damage as me. So the nice thing is I know if I can get my flank on him or I can get around him, as you can see like here, tapping one shell into him, and I'm going to trade for the second one, but because I do get that second shell in, you can see we pretty much dealt the same damage, except I got one more shot back into him. So that is one nice thing, as I know, is that if that was an IS over there, I would have just been completely demolished. And the IS is also a much quicker tank, so the Black Prince is also very slow, makes it a lot easier for me to flank. But as I said, the EZ8 has a better power to weight ratio, and that's really the only disadvantage the Fury gets. It's not slow by any means. I'm easily getting away, staying at the top speed of really 48 kilometers per hour. It's not slow, and I was very surprised about that, because I thought because the EZ8 has such a better power to weight ratio, I thought he was really going to leave this tank in the dust, but I purchased the EZ8, ran it a little bit, and in my opinion, I think they run almost identical on the speed. So I'm not sure if Wargaming just made up those values to make it seem like this tank wasn't completely better in every single way, but in my opinion, they seem so close on the speeds, I really don't understand why they even gave the EZ8 a better power to weight ratio. In my opinion, I feel the Fury and the EZ8 should be identical statistically, because the people that are buying a Fury are honestly, in my opinion, buying it just because it's a Fury, because it looks cool, and because they want to collect it. I cannot imagine any players that would want to buy this tank for tournaments or anything to stat pad, because the Cromwell B is not only a better tank with penetration, it's got a little bit worse damage per minute, I think, but other than that, it's faster, it's got, I think, the same gun depression. There is literally no advantages to running a Fury over a Cromwell B. So to buy this tank for this much gold when you can literally get a Cromwell B for now, I think maybe $10 it comes into the store, there really is no point to pick up this vehicle. Now, I'm not saying this tank is bad in any way, shape, or form. You can actually see both of these games I pulled out were really, really good, and that's because, as I said, it has a great damage per minute. The gun may not be the best penetration-wise, but it still has a decent top speed, almost goes 50 kilometers per hour. Pretty good in every single statistic. I think it is a very balanced tank. It's just that I don't understand why they want to rip you off for so much money. But to be honest, I don't blame Wargaming, because the crazier part was when they released this tank for 30,000 gold, people bought it. I noticed over 60 people purchased this tank on the first day. I have no clue why anybody in their right mind would purchase it for 30,000 gold when you know that it's going to drop. And it's not like this tank's going to sell out anytime soon. My guess is this tank will not sell out even on the last day of the event. and rightfully it shouldn't, because as I said, it's just a ridiculous price tag. But nonetheless, you can see I did do pretty good this game. 2,600 damage, 64,000 credits, again with spamming all that premium ammo, and I did come out with quite a hefty profit. But other than that, guys, that was sort of my review and rant on this tank. I wanted to put 2 for 1 because I didn't just want to make one video talking about the tank without also addressing why this tank is such an expensive price tag. But if you do want to pick it up because you are a tank collector, I will say at least you will not be disappointed. It's not a bad vehicle. It does the job, and it does it pretty well. But other than that, guys, I hope you did enjoy this video. As always, make sure to smash that like button if you did. If you didn't, hit me up with the down vote. Let me know why you didn't like it in the comments down below. And other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Make sure to subscribe. Have a good one, guys.